Hello, young adults. Welcome to lesson 5.7, writing the equations of circles. I know what you're thinking. I did this in my last lesson. Well, you know what? That was baby stuff. Now we're stepping it up a little bit and we're going to get into the hard stuff. This is where it gets real. So I hope you're ready because it's going down. Now, for you to even be able to complete this lesson, you're going to have to know this key skill, and it's called completing the square. Now, this is something that you might remember from last year because it's a topic in algebra, or maybe not. So we're just going to look at the basics here. What you see here is two quadratic trinomials, all right? 1, 2, 3, it's a trinomial, but it's missing the last term. We want to find out what number needs to be added to each expression to make it a perfect square. I'll explain what a perfect square is in a second, but let's first show how to do it. To figure out what number has to be added here to make this whole expression a perfect square is what you do is this. You take the number in front of x, which would be 6. Okay, so let's take that. I'm just going to take it, okay? We're going to divide it by 2. All right, so let's divide 6 by 2. We get 3. And then square the results. And that means you go like this. We're going to square it. And that gives us 9. So if you add 9 to this, this then becomes a perfect square. And what does that mean? If you were to factor this, you might remember this. This factors into x plus 3 and x plus 3. And the reason this is a perfect square is because these two are the same. It's a square. It's x plus 3 and x plus 3. So that just reduces to x plus 3 squared. Maybe you're starting to see how this could relate to circles, maybe not. But this is what you need to be able to do in this lesson. Okay? So what you do is we're going to have a missing number here. You have to be able to take the number in front of x, divide it by 2, and square it. And that will give you the missing number here. And then you factor it into a perfect square. Let's try it one more time. You might be confused here. Let's do it one more time. What we're going to do is figure out what number I have to put here to make this a perfect square. What you do is you take the number in front of x, that's -8. So let's take that number. We're going to divide it by 2. All right, we're just dividing it by 2. That gives us -4. And then we square the result, and that gives us 16. All right, so we're going to add 16 to both sides. Now, I'm just going to give you a shortcut here. All right, here's a shortcut. We have to factor this now into the perfect square. Instead of doing what I just did here, because you might not remember that, here's your shortcut. All you write is x, and then whatever half of this is goes here. So whatever this number is, remember when you divided it by 2? -4 squared. All right, that's a little shortcut for factoring. It worked here too, right? So if you had 6 here, you see how we divided by 2, we got 3? That's the same number we put here. All right? We'll do it some more. I'm telling you, that's an essential skill. Let's keep it up. All right. So for our first problem, we're going to find the length of the radius of the center and the center of the circle with the equation below. We're going to find the radius and the center of this equation. Now the problem is, we don't know how to do it like this. This is in the form we know. We know how to do it if it's in this form. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And we know that the center is going to be hk, and that your radius is going to just be the square root of r, whatever is here, right? Now that's what we learned in the last lesson, but this isn't in that form, right? I can't find out what the center is because it's not like that. So what we have to do is we have to change the form into this. We got to make it look like this. And I'm going to show you how to do that. There's a series of steps. Okay? So check it out. Now, the x is by itself. There's no other x's in this equation, so we're going to leave him alone. We're just going to bring him down. All right? But we want to turn this into a factored form. Y squared and 6y. We got to turn this into a factored form like we see here. All right? We got to turn that into a perfect square. So follow with me. What you're going to do is you're going to do exactly what we just did above. We're going to add a dash there. Okay? You're going to put 16. You know what? Add a dash here as well. Okay? So what we need to do is figure out what number can go here so I can factor it into this form. Now we just learned how to do that. What you do, I'm going to put parentheses around this. what you do is you take half of the number, right, in front of just the y or the x or the y, the thing without the squared, and you're going to square it. So we just did this. So you take this number 6, we're going to divide it into 2, we get 3, and then you square the result. All right, and that gives you 9. So we're going to add 9 to this. And we're also going, since you add 9 to one side, you always have to add it to the other. So let's add 9 right here. So we're just adding 9 to both sides. Now check it out. What happens is when I add 9 to both sides, this becomes a perfect square trinomial. So what it does is this factors into y plus, and remember I just take half of this, 3, and then it's squared. See what just happened there? Isn't that amazing? We just changed it. And now we get equals 25. Now we have the form that we know how to do this in. We know this. So if I wanted to find the center and the radius, well, my center now is going to be, well, there's nothing added to x, so it's going to be 0, -3. Remember, we changed the sign. And our radius is going to be equal to the square root of 25, which is equal to 5. And you see how that all worked out? Check and check. We just had to change the form of it. So if it says find the radius in the center of a circle, and it's not in the form that we know, we have to do the completing the square to put it in the form where we can see these things. We're going to do 3 more examples. Bear with me. We're going to get nice and comfortable with this. I know it's a little complicated. Just trust me. We're going to keep going with it. All right, let's go for example number 2. We're going to find the radius of center of the circle with the equation below. Once again, we're given this. It's not in the form that we know, which is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. We have to put this in that form. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our 2 x's right here. I'm going to group those guys together, okay? And we're going to take our y's now. We're going to group those together. Now what we're going to do is do exactly what we just did. We have to put these in factored forms. We're going to complete the square here, so it's going to be x squared plus 4x plus blank, okay? Just adding that blank there, plus, let's do the same thing for the y squared minus 8y plus blank, and that's going to be equal to 29. And since now that I have 2 blanks there, it's going to be plus blank plus blank. I'm going to have to add 2 numbers now, because I'm going to add a number here and here. I have to add that to the other side as well. All right, so now we're going to complete the square for both of these. So remember, we take the number in front of x, which in this case is 4. We divide it by 2. That's 2. And then we square the result. And that gives us 4 again. Okay, so we're going to add 4 here. We're also going to do it for this guy. So -8, that's our number in front of the y, divided by 2. That gives us -4. We're going to square that, and that gives us 16. Okay, we're looking good so far. Now don't forget, you have to add those 2 numbers to the other side as well. You have to add those on to the other side because you have to keep your equation balanced. So that's 4 and 16. Let's add those on. All right, this factors to x plus, we take half of this number, 2 squared, plus, and I just want to repeat that this is the number that we use when we factor it, plus y minus 4 squared, and that's equal to 29 plus 4 plus 16, which is 49. Now we have it in the form that we remember. That's the form. We're good here. All right, we did it. Beautiful job, guys. I'm proud of you. I'm actually proud of me, but I'm proud of you. What's our center here? Our center is equal to -2, 4. And remember, this isn't far enough. The question says find the radius and center. Make sure you're writing center, dot, dot, and you're putting your center there. And our radius is equal to the square root of 49, which is equal to 7. All right. Check and check. Well done. Let's make it a little harder. We got 2 more. We're going to keep getting harder with these. All right. So we're going to find the radius and the center of the circle with the equation below. Now, once again, we're going to do exactly what we've been doing. But if you look here, we have x squared plus y squared plus 10x minus 2y. when it's not in the order, you got to group your like terms together. So we're going to have to put these two guys together, and we're going to have to put these two guys together. So before we get started, let's rewrite everything. So we get x squared plus 10x. All right, we put those two together. And then we get plus y squared minus 2y. All right, and that equals 55. All right, so we just grouped it together first. So the first thing we want to do is group like terms. Group like terms. Yup! Now we're set. Now we can get into business. So let's do exactly like we did together. We got our like terms together, okay? We got them together. We're going to keep working with these. We got to make this into the form that we know. We got to make some perfect squares. So let's take a look. We're going to go x squared plus 10x plus blank. And then we're going to do it again. And then we're going to add plus y squared minus 2y plus blank. And if you remember now, since we have two blanks here, 1 and 2, we're going to do 55 plus blank plus blank. Okay? Well, let's give it a shot now. So we have to take half of 10. So we're going to take half of 10. We're going to complete the square here by taking half. We get 5. We're going to square that, and we get 25. And we're going to do it again for our y, which is negative 2. So negative 2 divided by 2 equals negative 1. You square that, and you get 1. So 1 goes over here. So let's add that to both of these. We got 25, and we're going to add a 1 over here. Right? We add it to one side. We want to keep our equations balanced. Now we just do some factoring. So we do x plus the half of the 10, which was our 5. Remember, that's what we're going to put over here. Okay? Squared. Plus, we got to take half of that, so it's y minus 1 squared. And that's going to be equal to 81 when we add these numbers together. So since we want to find the center and the radius, let's write this down. We got our nice looking equation right now. It's in the form that we know. Its center is equal to negative 5, negative 1. Why am I saying that? It's negative 5, positive 1. Jeez, get on it. And our radius is equal to square root of 81, which is just 9. All right. Final question. All right. Keep going. Now, if you feel confident with these, I say go for it. You don't have to listen to me do it. Maybe you got this down. If not, just keep paying attention. All right. So, for this one, and this is really what your quiz is going to be on, this level of difficulty, we're going to do exactly what we've been doing, but we've got to bring all our skills together. So what we're going to do first, though, before doing any of this, we're going to add one added thing. We just want x's and y's on this side of the equation. This 14, it's got to move over first. We got to put the numbers on the other side. So we're going to move this over. You do that by subtracting it. You can't just move it. We're going to subtract 14 first. Okay? So now, after we've done that, we get x squared plus y squared minus 6y minus 12x equals negative 14. All right, x's and y's on one side. We want x's only, x's and y's on this side. Got to move the numbers over. Now we can get started on what we know. So the first thing we want to do is group the like terms. So let's group our like terms. We got to move our 12x over here, and our y's are already together, so they're pretty set. So let's group this. So we get x squared minus 12x plus y squared minus 6y, and that's equal to negative 14. Well, you see where this is going, so let's just go. So we're going to, we got our x's together, we got our y's together, and let's just rock and roll. So we get x squared minus 12x plus blank. Okay, that's our first guy. Plus y squared minus 6y plus blank is equal to negative 14 plus blank plus blank. Two blanks. We're going to take negative 12 and we're going to divide it by 2. Negative 12. Let's complete our square. We get negative 6. We square that and we get 36. So that's what we're going to put over here. We're going to take negative 6 over here. Negative 6 divided by 2, we get negative 3. Squared, we get 6. Sorry, 9. What am I talking about? Jeez, get on it. And we're going to add those two numbers over. So we get 36 and we get 9 over here. All right. Now we can factor it. So we get x. We're going to use this number, minus 6 squared. All right. Plus y. I'm going to use this number, minus 3. It's just half of the negative 6 squared. And that's equal to, when we add this all together, we get, let's see, I can actually do the math here. Negative 14 plus 36 is 22. 22 plus 9 is 31. Okay. Our center, therefore, is going to be 6, 3. Just changing those signs. And our radius is equal to the square root of 31. There is no square root of 31, some weird decimal, so we are done. All right, guys, you did it. If you finish this lesson and pass the test, you've completed the second quarter. Good for you. Go tell your mom. Bye.